Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Strength for Today's Man. This is volume 54, and I'm excited. I'm beside myself because we finally get a chance to start working on the studio, start changing some things around, making this little room look like a studio. And I can't wait. I'm excited. I told the wife, hey, go ahead and do your thing. You like to decorate. I gave her some ideas. She showed me some things. I showed her some things. We went on YouTube and saw some other podcast studios that I really liked, some of the things that they were using. So, you have to mix and match to make it your own. And I can't wait for you guys to see what we're going to do. I told you, keep it locked because you get a chance to grow with me and see the progression of change of what we're doing here in the studio. And I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. Thank you guys for following me, for liking the show podcast, for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. I appreciate that. Thank you guys so very much for all that you do, because I'm doing this not for my own, but I'm doing this for you, the viewers and the listeners, those that are on audio, those that are on the video. I just want to share the word with you and just see the growth in your life and how God is going to bless you every day through these daily devotions. Okay, let's get to it. Mark, or actually, we're not going to mark. That was yesterday. We're going to go to Luke today, Luke 15. This is a very familiar scripture, guys. I know that this has been preached for centuries. People love to talk about the prodigal son. People love to preach about the prodigal son. And I know that many of us have had a time to where we were in the prodigal son's shoes. We decided, we came up with the decision, which was a poor decision, to walk away from what we know is right, to walk away from what we know is safe, to walk away from what we know to be true. And then what happens when we walk away? It's not what it's all cracked up to be when you get out there. Let's read it. Luke 15, 19, 20. He says, I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Let me put a little twist in this. I am no longer worthy to be called your daughter. Either one fits. Treat me as one of your hired servants. And he arose and came to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and felt compassion and ran and embraced him and kissed him. How is that possible? Well, this is what we're going to talk about today. It's grace. That's how it's possible. And I know that you can't give anything to anyone that you don't have yourself. When we make these choices, and I'm talking about poor choices, bad decisions, when we make these choices, what happens is it brings us away from the Lord. It takes us away from God. And then we seem like we convince ourselves that, okay, now that I'm out here and I've done wrong, I need to go back, but I need to earn my way back. Really? That might be in man's eyesight, because man will want you to earn your way back into their good graces. If you've cheated on a spouse, they'll want you to earn their trust again. They want you to earn your way back into their life. God's not like that. He's not going to get you to earn your way back into his love. It's our poor decisions that bring us to these distant lands. It's our poor decisions that takes us to these wildernesses. And we're so far out there, away from God's love, away from our family's love, away from everything that we know to be right. And we begin to lose our identity as a child of God the longer we stay out there in the wilderness. You start losing your identity as a child of God. Now, If we do not understand the depth of God's grace, and God's grace is deep, His mercy is deep, His love is deep. If we do not understand any of this, you know what we try to do? We try to direct God in dealing with our disobedience. You can't direct Him in dealing with your sin, your disobedience. In the parable of the prodigal son, the son had a plan and he had a proposal. You know what his plan was? His plan was to go back home. Now, what was the proposal? His proposal was to become one of his father's hired servants. Now, that's what he was working on out there in the wilderness. He had lost everything. All his buddies, all his girls, all his boys, they all took everything he had. See, when people see that you have a lot, you have money, cars, status, house, all of that. They want that. They want what you have. Instead of working hard like you may have worked hard to get that, they just want to come in, befriend you, get close to you, get in your ear, be yap, 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 and then take everything you have. They start siphoning off all of your energy. They start siphoning off all of your strength. They start siphoning off all of your wits. They just sucking you dry, sucking your life dry. And you're just like, oh, let's have a good time. It's on me. Party, party. You don't even realize that they're sucking the life out of you. And that's what was happening to the prodigal son. He got out there, he started partying, he started having a good time. And people say, he wasn't having a good time. Yeah, he was having a good time. I don't know about you, but when I was in my sin, I had a good time. I had fun. It's all the old saints that be like, you need to stop glorifying. No, I'm not glorifying anything. I was in my sin and I was having fun in my sin. Even though I know the end of the road wasn't the same as the end of the road, those that are saved. It wasn't until I became a Christian or I got saved in my youth that I understood that. But I still had a season of prodigalness when I went out there and everything I had was taken from me. Everything that I thought was mine was taken from me because it wasn't mine. And here, not only did the prodigal son have a plan and a proposal, he thought he was just going to go home and be a hired servant of his father. He didn't understand the grace of his father and how he bought into the lie. And this is what happens to us. We buy into the same lie that we have to earn our way back into the fold. You don't have to earn your way back. This can be far as ministry, business, family life, friendships, doesn't matter what it is. If people have a good heart, if they love God for one, and if they have the love of God on the inside, then they will have grace. They will have mercy. They will have love. And like I said in the beginning, you cannot give anything to anyone that you don't have yourself. But he didn't realize, because of what he was going through and how he treated his dad, he didn't realize the depth of his own father's grace towards him. His father had a different plan and a different proposal. You know what his plan and proposal was? One, his plan was to lovingly accept his son back. That was the plan. Welcome him back home to where he belonged. And his proposal was not to make him a hired servant, but to celebrate him coming home, to have a big old party because the son that was once dead is now alive and he's back home where he belongs. Okay, let's flip that. The daughter that's been out there lost in her waywardness, her sin, her debauchery, all of that has come home. Welcome her back and let's have a big party. Let's do it. Not everybody's going to be happy. We know the story about his older son. He wasn't happy. But that's just like man. They're not going to be happy with you coming back because it's like in their mind, oh, they're going to take what's mine now. No, they don't want anything of yours. They're just trying to get back home where it's safe. Now, if the father has the resources, if the parents have the resources, you know what? Well, then they are going to be blessed with what they have. So the father's plan was to welcome him back home lovingly, and two, to celebrate him being back home. This parable that Jesus taught is about the grace of the Father, not the efforts of the Son. Did you catch that? It's about the grace of the Father, not the efforts of the Son. Even though the Son made a lot of effort in returning home, the point here is the grace that the Father had for his Son. We cannot give to others. And I'm going to say this again. We cannot give to others what we do not have ourselves. If you don't have grace, you can't give grace. If you don't have love, you can't give love. If you don't have mercy in your heart, you cannot give mercy. Once we receive God's grace, hear me on this one. Once we receive God's grace in our own lives, we can extend to those we love. It's grace. And I'm going to close with this. God of love, be by my side. God of grace, be my guide. Didn't know I was a rapper, did you? Neither did I. You guys go out there, show some grace. If you have grace, show some love. Show some mercy. Yeah, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be hurt. You're going to be talked about. You're going to be dogged. People are not going to treat you nicely. But you know what? You have the grace of God down on the inside of you. And because you have the grace of God, you can give others that same grace. How is that possible? It's grace. I look forward to meeting you right back here, guys, on the next podcast. You guys be blessed today. See you soon.